Hey, everybody, welcome to the Tech-Mex podcast. We're your hosts, Eric Amando. This is episode 90, number 90. Okay, we're bringing you the top stories of Bitcoin, tech, and wealth. And today we've got a special report from Texas where our rockets explode, our sheriffs crack open crypto ATMs, and our Cybertrucks either drive on water or, well, they don't. Dale.
Man, it's like Texas is the center of the universe, though.
Lots of stuff going on over here. I don't know what to say. Some of it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So, look, we have a bunch of stories. I'm very excited about this one. Once again, it's hitting about our backyard, right? Like different cities here. But this one, it kind of catch my attention. This one, it says Telegram. Are you familiar with Telegram?
Is it like Twitter or something?
In some point, the chat apps became very popular because of WhatsApp, right? So everybody wanted to create a WhatsApp. A Facebook, or in this case, Meta, acquire WhatsApp for, I don't know, $1 billion. Then this guy created Telegram, which is basically it's just a chat, a messenger.
Okay, so it's just a messenger.
It's just the messenger part, right? And people start using it because they can automate it and things like that. But anyways, this guy is a billionaire already. And the interesting thing here is that he has 100+ kids, man.
He's a busy guy. I don't know how the body keeps up with that.
Well, I'll explain to you, but because that is like, what the heck? It's like this guy is the new Gengis Khan.
Yeah.
Of our times.
Him and Elon are going to be competing, I think.
I mean, it's not a bad thing that there is more smart people, right? Like having kids, because that's an issue, right? Sometimes a lot of smart people don't want to have kids. Anyways, this guy is planning to leave his fortune, and is maybe roughly 132 millions for that generation. So when you start reading the article, basically the guy donates sperm.
Okay.
So
Okay.
his real
Super
kids,
jizz.
super jizz. So 6 kids are his real kids, and the other ones are just for donations. Quite interesting. I don't know, like how your wife will think about that. You know, like you're gonna just keep donating.
I don't know about that. I mean, okay, first of all, we gotta mention this. Again, your feed.
Yeah, right.
You always get the feed of the jizz stories. It's kind of very interesting here.
Jizz stories.
But no, a serious note. Okay, this guy. I mean, it's kind of cool that he's gonna leave. I mean, that's usually what I guess parents do. They leave money to their kids. He just has a lot of them, right?
I mean,
does he know all of them?
I have no
Or
idea.
do they
It's
know
like,
him? Like, I wonder.
I don't know the mechanics. Like when you are getting like a donation of that, is like if they tell, hey, this is this person. I don't think that for private. Maybe you might have to disclose, hey, I actually want people to know, or I don't know. I have no idea how that works. So, but yeah, it will be weird, right?
Yeah,
Like,
the story does say they don't. He doesn't know all of them. They don't all know him, and they're actually spread. He spread his seed literally across 12 different countries.
No pun intended.
100 babies across 12 countries. 13.9 billions. How much is that for each of them then? I mean, he's not planning on dying anytime soon, I don't think. But
I don't think so. But I mean, in theory, 132 millions each, right?
not. Imagine finding that out. That's not a bad day. It's like finding $5 in your pants.
Only
You're
like
like,
100 meals in your pants.
it's 100 mils.
For
That's
sure.
too funny. Is this guy? Oh, this guy's Russian. Durov?
I'm not sure,
That's his
but
name?
it sounds. I don't know. It could be
Yeah.
Ukrainian, right? So who knows?
It says Russian born. Huh, interesting. So I guess that's probably why he got into a lot of probably the messaging and things like that. You
Hmm.
know, a lot of these entrepreneurs, a lot of the things that they tend to tackle are born out of necessity, right? So it's probably trying to avoid the censorship and stuff like that. That comes with some of these stronger regimes, maybe a
Hmm.
little bit more controlling. Um,
The
and
guy
so,
is
well,
from St. Petersburg in Russia. Yeah,
mhm.
40 years old, man. Pretty young. Pretty young.
He's doing all right. He's got a lot of kids. I'm surprised he doesn't have more gray hair.
Tell me about it. All right.
Well,
Moving on, though.
speaking of family, we've got Sam Altman. Let me pull up the story.
Okay.
So Sam Altman says, without ChatGPT, he doesn't know how he would have taken care of his babies. Maybe he needs to get some advice from Durov over here, right? He's got 100 of them. Sam Altman has his AI being his nanny. What do you think about that?
I first of all, when I read the headline for this one, though, if you scroll down, yeah, OpenAI Supremo. You know? They didn't say chief. They didn't say like CEO. No, Supremo, right?
Supremo. It's not a bad day when people making up words to describe you. So
I guess then uh, he doesn't know how, right? So I think that
his royal altness.
so I think that right now with LLMs and they have all of the knowledge from humanity. It's
Yeah.
just a little bit of hype on the news, but to be honest, I don't use Google, right? Like I only use now like GPT or in this case whatever. Sometimes Gemini, right? Whatever is the and then if that doesn't work, the three uh, you know most famous ones, then I go into Google. But yeah, I mean, all of the information is there, so I'm not surprised though.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, yeah, same way. I don't use Google for searches really anymore. What I do still use is like Google Maps, like to find restaurants and stuff like that near
Mm.
me. But I mean, I haven't really tried asking. I haven't tried asking GPT. I should try to see what do you think I should eat, and see what it tells me. That would be interesting. That's what gives me a good idea. Yeah, I'll try that. But a lot of people are starting to rely a lot more on AI, and there's that whole report, right, that Sam Altman said previously how different generations are using them, and this is just the latest example of how people are using ChatGPT in new and different ways. Yeah, I, I don't have kids. You got kids. You probably remember the days when you're like, okay, why is the baby crying, or why is the baby doing this? I don't get it. Imagine having ChatGPT to be a translator for you. What do you think about that?
I don't know, man. Babies are like very simple creatures, right? Like they just like, I'm hungry, cry,
Eat, poop,
basically.
eat, poop, sleep.
Yep. So if none of those are like met, then they cry.
You know what? It's kind of like adults too. Like it's fairly simple.
I guess so. I don't know. It's like it's almost instinctual. So I think that maybe engineers we overcomplicate things and we're overthinking it. It's
Mhm.
like you check those three, and if then something is wrong, then yeah. But I don't know. I once again I think that is because he mentioned it on an interview, and then the media. It's just, but again, it catch your attention, right? Like
Mhm.
it's just there are certain things that no matter who you are, it's like it's just babies AI. You don't put them together, and it's just a nice headline.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. One of the things that struck me though about this interview that he said, and yeah, when you think about it, it's pretty obvious. But he said, "My kids will never be as smart as AI. My kids will never be as smart as AI." And it's a very, very interesting thing to point out, but it's true, right? obviously AIs at this point are all PhD level thinkers and things like that. It's really just the execution on things that has to catch up. Um, but he's really thinking down the line, and I think it's important for a lot of people that are kind of in the AI space or that are right now in this timeline or in this time frame where we're at the cusp of having AGI. We're at the cusp of having bodies for this AGI, right? With robotics, um, we've got all programmable money and things like that. How all these things are going to culminate here just in the next few years and going to drive like this big change in how society works and things like that. We're already starting to see the first changes of this, right? It's impacting engineering jobs, graphic designer jobs. Lots of different jobs are being impacted already by AI growing and things like that. Big companies are starting to scale back their hiring of certain jobs. Recent graduates on universities are thinking, crap, I just spent 5 years doing an engineering degree. Now AI is going to do the job. I can't get a job. All these things are just slowly, little by little, week by week, month by month, adding up. And the change has not been like super extreme drastic, maybe, but in overall, it will culminate into a big society change. What do you think about that?
I have a pessimistic look though, which is we have seen it in humanity. These
Mm-hmm.
shifts in humanity, they're not pretty, right? Like industrial revolution, right? Like all of when we have farms and all of that, like shifting to machines, right? It does displace. And the problem is that we have now a lot of humans. And then what it creates unrest because people haven't sit down and think what they're gonna do with their time. We had a
Mm-hmm.
glimpse with COVID like 5 years ago. It's like they had a lot of time. It kind of everything all in some point settled, but it took a while. A lot of people were like unrest, which obviously that was kind of the with the pandemic. But I feel the same here. People is getting unrest, like, hey, I don't have a job. How am I going to survive? Like all anxious, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel that sometimes that's what is going to help us to propel space. It sounds weird, but I feel that that's what is happening. That if all of the needs are met in Earth, like there's going to be always food. We're able to literally sustain ourselves. Uh, then the greatest minds start thinking completely outside of like literally
It's
on
like, what's next? What's the
what is
next
next.
challenge, right? The
So
next
so
frontier.
because guess what? If you already are if you already have like multiple Optimums delivering to your house, there is literally 1 or 2 billion robots. Which it sounds absurd, right? That we are saying it, but I'm putting on freaking camera.
Yeah.
I can see that maybe in 15, 20 years can be 1 billion robots. I mean the freaking phones, right? Like I don't know how many phones are in already, but I can see a point where we get a billion robots, almost 1 in 10 billion human beings. We have a robot. That means that they coexist with us. We're gonna be seeing them in the street cleaning. We're gonna see them like maids, doctors, and so on. So then, what the heck human beings gonna do, right? And I think that's that times of years. There's gonna be wars. There's gonna be like power, like whatever. But ultimately, it's gonna be what we have seen in the movies. I don't have a pessimistic look of freaking Terminator. No, I do feel that the destruction is gonna be inflicted by us instead of the machines. The machine might be the culprit, but I don't feel them to be uprising, right? So I
Yeah.
feel then that it's gonna be just the unrest on people, like the people that they don't have robots or they hate the robots versus the people they're progressive. This is a tough one. That one it goes into again into politics, right? How people will start thinking the the universal income, right? It comes to
Mm-hmm.
mind. I'm not too proponent of that because I feel that sometimes people they it removes the incentive. But I am a proponent of like, hey, maybe some level of shelter and food. Don't worry about it, right? Like you basically the machines are working for you. You just are human and just spend your time
Gardening, playing sports. I don't
Well, that's
know.
the problem, right? If you truly are
Staying healthy.
lazy, well, do you think that then what happens if the majority of the population is not doing nothing, like literally just chilling on the beach, and everybody wants to be on the beach?
Need more beaches. Invest now.
Beaches or beaches?
Well, yeah, I think so. Obviously, if we start extrapolating and thinking about the future and UBI and things like that, right? Universal basic income. I don't know. I think you characterize it as lazy. I might characterize it as, people prioritize different things. There's a lot of people that are just content as long as their basic needs are met. I don't think it necessarily means that they're lazy or anything like that. I think it could be more so like, you know what? I prioritize spending time with my family. I want to, take care of my parents. They're aging, or there's all these different priorities that people have, right? Everybody's different. It's only a few people I think that are really truly wired to always be striving or ambitious and trying to get to a next level, or always improving things like that. Um,
I,
I think people like having purpose. I think that's true, but I don't think purpose necessarily needs to be a job either. And I think people will figure that out, what that is for them.
no, no. Let me be more specific. For me, the lazy is like literally a couch potato that is like doing nothing. You just describe being some sort of service to your parents, to your kids, to your like surrounding. That's okay. That's not laziness for me. What
Hmm.
I meant is a person that literally does nothing, right? Which is okay. Sometimes you have to rest. You have to chill, right?
I don't know. I don't know many people like that. That's the thing. I don't think I know any people like that.
That didn't do anything. I mean, in COVID, that's what happened, though. I mean, in literally, they were giving out checks, right? And people
Mhm.
were not like some start like learning skills, right? Some people like, hey, you know what? Maybe now I have a little bit of money. Like I want to learn fishing or I want to learn cooking. Which again
Mhm.
is there is a different concept. I don't call that laziness. It's just the act of not doing anything productive. And I do have a hard time, and again is there are seasons, and there are seasons for you, whatever it is, weeks, months, whatever, right, a year, of like literally leisure and not doing nothing, right, just literally being just human being. But okay, but that means, and there's not a problem if it's only once and two C's, but imagine if you have a cities of that. And it reminds me Bay Area, and it reminds me sometimes Seattle. I live in Seattle for a while, and I visit Bay Area very often, almost every quarter. So they get into a point where they start doing drugs, and when you start doing drugs, like in an ongoing basis, their mind goes, and then they become homeless, right? So and then it's just the whole sequence of events, and that's what I kind of see a path where you see a lot of the population like that. And these are not ideas from me, right? They're ideas that you see, like even in movies, that you see. This is
Idiocracy.
I haven't seen that one.
No, oh, yeah, you got to watch that one. That
All
one
right,
will really trigger you.
trigger me.
You'll see.
What do you see? All right.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I think us. You're right. Some folks can get sucked into that world of drugs and things like that, and without anything to, I guess, distract them, some people could really get sucked down that path. So I could see that. I could see that as being a real concern. That's true.
Think
So.
about it. Think about it like when we were villages, right? Like when we were
Mhm.
just a group of humans. First of all, you couldn't just survive by yourself. It was very hard, like before civilization, one
Mhm.
person, right, surviving for everything. Because guess what? You get sick and you're doomed. You cannot hunt. You cannot like collect food
Mhm.
or whatever, right? So then villages were or like communities were the way to go. You have the chief, you have,
Mhm.
like the whole structure of
The shaman,
the shaman and the fool. There's always a fool.
the fool, and the drunk. I mean,
Well, again, they had a job, but imagine if everybody's drunk, right?
yeah, but even back then, there was just one town drunk. It wasn't like
But
the
that's what I'm
neighborhood, the
yeah,
drunk
but that
neighborhood.
but exactly, and that's what I'm trying to convey. That
Yeah.
if it's one, that's fine, right? But if you have like 50%, 60%, that's where that is that I'm having trouble, right?
Hmm.
If a lot of people they are shifting into that, because
Hmm.
what happens is that they haven't had the opportunity to think what they want to do with their free time. They say that they want to be with their kids, right? But sometimes when they are like in the same house for a long time, they're fighting too a lot.
So society, you think society then has been built only for the sole purpose, having jobs, economy, stuff like that, industrial, just to keep people from
No,
getting drunk.
I have no, I have a very
That's the whole point. No,
I
I know,
like
I know. I'm
I
being
like
facetious, right?
no, no, sure, but I like the concept of Ayn Rand. The concept of the books of Ayn Rand is you are a creature of purpose, and you use your brain to be able to achieve that purpose, whatever it is, right? So for me, it's just if you don't have it, then what will be different from another animal, right? So you'll
Mm-hmm.
be a fish, you just are a
Sheep.
fish.
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, it'll be very very interesting, but I mean, it's coming. That's the thing. So, very good thought experiments to have, and as unfortunately, we got to rely on the politicians to kind of figure this out. But of course, there's we can always impact that by right by doing our part. But in any case, yeah, this is very very interesting thought process about kind of how this is going. And this, how do we started this conversation with Sam Altman saying, "I need an AI nanny," and you know, how far does it go? Right? How far will it go? This is very very interesting. Well, in other news, I did want to point out I saw this goofy story, and I almost feel like you have to play that Benny Hill music. Texas cops cut open crypto ATM to recover 25K lost to scam. And then you see this okay, Bitcoin Depot. Sorry, y'all are out of a machine and out of 30, 25, 30 grand that this cop just stole out of your machine.
Stole.
Well, essentially, right?
Yeah. I think that this is something like trying to do the good thing, because obviously it's like, oh, it was a stole, there is a scam. Let me open this machine, you know.
Yeah.
And then he's actually breaking the law, right? And probably the guy doesn't even know that he's breaking the law
Yeah.
for a financial
This is a
institution.
sheriff, by the way. Yeah. So interesting. So, okay. So let's give some context here to the folks that haven't seen or heard the story yet. But basically, what it turns out like there was a family or a person that said they got scammed. And as part of the scam, I guess they got told to take 25 grand and deposit it into this Bitcoin ATM. Now, the way Bitcoin ATMs work is you put money in and it prints a piece of paper out that says, this is your Bitcoin address. Your Bitcoin it now lives at this address. The exchange has happened. And Bitcoin Depot is a middleman here. There's someone else that that money is going to belong to. And at this point, Bitcoin Depot is the one that's holding that money, but they owe the other people the money. So, anyways, this sheriff took it upon themselves to get that money out of the Bitcoin Depot and destroy it. I don't know if that was the right approach, but nonetheless, it happened. You see any other learnings from this here, Mando?
It's tough though because but it's weird because you never seen these with a regular ATM.
Oh,
So like, why the sheriff thought that maybe that's okay?
yeah.
Uh, yeah, the whole thing is weird.
Yeah, it is. It is very weird, and exactly, I'm not sure what the thought process was here. But I guess he says, well, sorry, Bitcoin Depot, you're out of luck. That's kind of saying like, sorry, Chase Bank, you're out of luck. I broke into your vault and took back the 20K that these people lost. You got to figure out on your own. Right. Plus, by the way, your vault's broken now. It's like, okay.
And those things are like maybe what 10K, right? Like last time that we were looking into some of
Bitcoin
these.
ATMs. Yeah, they can be. You know, my brother-in-law works for a Bitcoin ATM company.
Is that the company?
I gotta show. I gotta show. No, it's not Bitcoin Depot. It's a different one.
Liberty, I think that was the one there.
Yeah, I don't remember. It could be. I should send him this story, see what he thinks about it. But yeah, very very weird, very very weird story here. But when it comes to money, you know, people get a little bit crazy. What I want to know is, what kind of story did these people? How did they get scammed out of 25K?
I have
Like,
received those. I know what they do. They tell you, hey, you owe to the IRS 25K. Wait, there's gonna be, and they have already the text, to make sure that it's like influencing you. It's like,
mhm.
please, people that are listening to this, don't fall into that, right? So just go into Google and truly get the proper IRS number, right? Like for whatever it is, and then call them directly. Don't believe on the letters, don't believe on the phone calls, don't believe on the text messages. Because usually when they even have a website, they have like a something Russia dot IRS or
I know,
Nigeria,
right?
right? Sorry, guys, but I mean that's
Yeah.
usually where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So and then that's because there are a lot of hackers over there, right? And but again, it's don't fall into prey onto those things.
Okay. Speaking of money, oh, and it's already up. Check this out. This story actually caught my attention. Wow. Tex-Mex
Do you
is
have sound
next.
enabled? Yeah, it's not sound. There is no sound, so you might have to reshare again.
One sec. Okay. This is very, very interesting here.
In 26 minutes. Yep, you heard that right. China's live streamer, Liu Yonggao, I'm not sure if that's right pronunciation, showed up on Baidu's shopping platform, but not as himself. He sent his AI twin instead, and it rushed it. Baidu's earning model powered two digital hosts, not just one. They showcased 133 products, used human-like gestures, and even handled real-time viewer interactions. In a 6-hour stream, they pulled in 13 million viewers, over $7 million in sales, and about 97,000 characters of AI written product copy. And it
Wow.
What you think about that?
Uh, I saw that coming though. It's like QVC, it's like now with AI avatars, and now you can clone yourself. We should do ourselves, or
That's
maybe
what I'm ready. Let's do it.
maybe we already are avatars and you don't even know.
Plot twist. Well, okay, so few things really stand out. Okay, one, that this AI digital twin thing. This is this become the new thing, right? Digital
Mhm.
twin. Even in healthcare, your digital twin, the patient's digital twin. It's going to be the I guess it's sticking, right? The naming or that use of that term. So I thought that's kind of cool. So they've got their digital twins out there doing work on their behalf. So maybe going back to our last conversation about maybe everyone's going to have a digital twin, and it's this digital twin that's actually doing work for them, and their job is just to manage their digital twin. Maybe it's something like that, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Other thing that stood out to me: 6 hours straight of sales, and no one even realized it or mentioned it or batted an eye, like didn't think that's not real, or like so the level of the quality of these digital twins, or whatever, the copy, the words that they're using, the movements that were on screen, it's all believable at this point, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've all seen VO3. That's it, believable, right? But these are digital twins, so I'm not
Well,
sure if Baidu has a specific platform for this, but I'm gonna look into it, see what they got.
When you mentioned that to me, I said, "What the heck? How did they did it?" The stuff that I was thinking in my mind is like actually grabbing the products and showing you, like, "Hey, you have to do this." But no, it was only them talking. Yeah, yeah,
This is them talking.
hitting the
Mhm.
link. This is the new product, like
Mhm.
whatever it is, like a mug or whatever, like here, just buy it out. That that is actually genius because you don't have to the complexities of
You don't have
putting the
to.
products,
No,
show
you
it
don't
and
gotta do
just
that.
just buy, right? Like
Mhm.
so genius. I mean, we are
That
not giving
works.
enough credit to the Chinese. Genius.
Yeah, I know a lot of times we're thinking we have to do like the perfect like setup thing, but even if you do that first step, look at how that worked out for them. 6 hours, and they did I don't know how many millions of
They
sales.
say it said 7 meals, so almost a meal per hour. Not bad, not bad.
That's awesome. I thought that was too cool. So we're getting closer there with AI getting to be that good. Speaking of AI, sometimes I'm worried that with our Cybertrucks,
What do you mean?
sometimes I'm worried that our Cybertrucks are going to take the wrong turn, especially now that we see the news out in Austin and it's
Hmm.
just kind of driving on your own. What if you ended up
About rolling
on the
down in the
lake?
deep. When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah,
Only in
I
Texas,
feel
y'all.
like an astronaut in the ocean. Ay, what you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain
So it's in Lake Grapevine. What is this? Do you know where is
Lake
that one?
Grapevine is, I think it's near Dallas.
It's close to Dallas.
Yeah, it's a lake near Dallas, I think. So yeah, and spoiler alert, they got out of the lake. It just drove right out. It just drove right out. I think that's pretty badass. I mean,
It is.
being in Houston, obviously, we got to deal with hurricanes, these crazy downpours every 5 years or
You
so.
might not have to go to the lake in the way that actually floats in in downtown.
Yeah, so I don't know if that thing is actually how deep that point in the lake actually is. So I don't know if it's floating and the wheels turning or just propelling it forward, or if it's actually making contact
That
to the
was the
bottom
other,
of the lake. I'm
yeah,
not
that was
sure.
the other interesting thing. How the guy chose to go there in that side. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he knew that, or she knew that they are like the short, all right?
Hmm.
So, but man, like, would you do it? I think that
No.
these people. I mean, I get it. If you're stranded and there is a floating, like crap,
If you have to,
I
yeah.
need to go home, right? I don't want to be like obviously here. So if you
Uh-huh.
have to, well, so be it, right? But
Uh-huh.
just doing it like that, just for the giggles.
I don't know. Well, okay. Now contrast that with how we're doing it down in Houston. It's a little different. You gonna pimp yours out like that, Mondo?
No.
So there's difference between Dallas and Houston. It looks like with the Cybertrucks, uh, it's a little bit different. But I'd like to know more about the story about the guy that was there in Dallas driving through the lake, because I think that
I
is pretty
I
amazing.
do like that there are certain cars that you can customize, and even like to that extreme, and there's like still okay, you can customize that. But imagine if you want to, I don't know, customize a Camry Toyota.
To do customize what kind?
Yeah, it's like I don't know, a Camry Toyota, right? Like,
Well,
uh,
people do it. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Obviously, there's always a person that might do it, but there's only certain cars that you want to even wrap, right? Like maybe a Lambo, you wrap it, a
Mhm.
Cybertruck. But again, there are the cars like why you are also Jeeps. If you think about it, like the Jeeps have the cool looking, like you can customize them. But other
Mhm.
cars, it's weird. They're weird when they customize it. So
Yeah, that's true. Well, I've always thought that the best thing about one of the best things about the Cybertruck is the FSD.
oh
And
yeah.
this next story
Oh,
One metto nel sole,
shows you how good the FSD has gotten. Okay, I'm not sure. This is in the streets of Brasov, but I don't know if you could tell there's someone on the ground there. So I'll let this thing loop here.
Wow, yeah, it is. It's a person. Yeah, that just fell. They pushed the person.
And it looked like the FSD avoided the person that flew into the street. I know it's kind of hard to tell there on the screen there, but
No, I can see the person just standing up. Yeah,
I was like, "What? How was he jump out there? What happened?" Okay,
him,
if
right?
you're paying attention from the beginning, either the guy tripped or some pushed him, but he ended up falling into the street. The FSD saw something, and it veered off to the left, head on into a vehicle, but it looked like it saved a life, right? So the car was able to make that determination, life or vehicle, and it looked like it made the right call there. And now that dude, he should go buy a lottery ticket because that was his freaking lucky day that
that
was
was
actually Tesla driving down the street in Brasov. I don't know Brasov. I don't know how many Teslas they got over there, but he got lucky. That's what was driving down.
Imagine if it would be a semi or a bus, under the bus.
That is crazy. Now, don't get me wrong; he still got a little nudge from the car, but at least he did not get hit. So that's kind of cool. And so you see, like there are, you see that there are these uses of technology and kind of how everything is getting better and things like that. But you know what? There's still going to be bugs. Nothing at this point is really working 100%. Let me show you all this this one. So this is the SpaceX Starship exploded. So on one side,
even the other day when they whoa
on one side, Elon's got FSD working pretty good, but on the other side, the Starship is still kind of having these random explosions. I don't know that it was planned or anything. It was, as Elon put it,
even the other day when they
tis a scratch.
Whoa! What?
Did they say what happened? What happened? What was the reason, or they don't know yet, or they didn't want to disclose?
It looked. I don't know. I think they said it was something having to do something in the fuel system, but it was an anomaly. They're looking into it. So, they've been doing really good leading up to this. So, it's kind of weird that they had this, what do they call these? Rapid something explosion, something. I don't know.
The engines are called Raptors.
Yeah, the Raptor engines. Yeah. So I'm not exactly sure, but something caused this big explosion there. Imagine seeing that, man. I'm sure you could feel the heat coming off of that thing. I really want to go visit down there, see if there's.
The one that I want to go and see, we should next year is going in Florida for NASA. For actually, they're gonna send people to the moon, I think.
To the moon. You're right.
So I think that we should go there too.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Oh, fun NASA thing. Congrats to my aunt. She just submitted her retirement application from NASA, 35 years. So congrats to her if she's watching. Pretty. It's hard to stay anywhere for a long period of time. No doubt 35 years was pretty tough, but I think they at least got a pretty decent pension and things like that. But speaking of long drawn out storylines here. You guys remember Mark Zuckerberg thought he destroyed the Winklevoss twins? Most thought they'd disappear, but 20 years later, they built something even bigger. $3 trillion, the Winklevoss twins. Of course, you guys are familiar with the Winklevoss twins and the Zuckerberg story of, if y'all have not seen the network, Or that's what it's called, right? The movie.
Social network, social. Yeah, there's a movie.
The social. It's been a long time, but it's the story about how Facebook came to life, right? Basically, and involves Zuckerberg and the Winklevoss twins, and how Winklevoss twins hired Zuckerberg to build the Facebook. And Zuckerberg was like, yeah, I'm building it. Oh, I'm having problems, blah, blah, blah. Gaslighting the Winklevoss twins. And they're like, hey, what's going on, man? And all the while, he was building it for himself, and he released it on his own and left the Winklevoss twins out of it. There's also Eduardo Saverin, I think, that was involved with that. Anyways, big lawsuit later after, Zuckerberg stole the idea, built it on his own. He made the money. He's like, whatever, here's your 65 million. Well, the Winklevoss twins didn't just sit on their hands with it. They'd actually went ahead and invested that money into the next big thing that they found out was going to be crypto. So this is a really, really cool story. It's kind of interesting that they've been that you think that story is over. They're going to roll over and just kind of go away, but they turned it into that 65 million into Gemini and moved it into Bitcoin, basically. So they bought 100,000 Bitcoin at $120 each. So we got in kind of at similar time frames, and way back then it wasn't necessarily like a sure deal, kind of like how it is now. So they had some forethought and some vision there.
I am surprised that they were able to
investing.
get that many, because it was very hard to get. Maybe they contacted somebody that had already a big stash, early miners, early people that, because it was not easy. I mean, I remember there was this company called Local Bitcoins or something like that actually you use to trade with
It's like,
people.
peer to peer.
So there was no even when Coinbase was coming out, and that was kind of, I got a couple of those like that, just with regular people.
Yeah, exactly.
Not an exchange. Yeah.
Well, over time, obviously, we know the story of Bitcoin here. Bitcoin hit 68,000. That initial investment, it's worth then over $6 billion. So 68,000 actually wasn't that long ago. That was like over this last year. Of course, now we're over 100,000. We're like hovering between 104 and 110K, kind of back and forth, going sideways chopping. But even on top of that, with Bitcoin, it's kind of like, you can hodl, but then also what else can you do with it? You want to kind of derive an income from it. Obviously, Winklevoss twins were already rich, right? I think that's part of their backstory is they're already kind of wealthy. At least the family was wealthy. So, they probably had that thought process and history of, okay, how do we grow it? What's the next step? What do we do next? And so they came out with Gemini. And so it was basically the first regulated crypto exchange, or it's a regulated crypto exchange, but it was one of the first ones that they went out and say, we want to be regulated. We want to work with the governments to make sure that we're doing everything the way it did, because they saw that that's what was going to be needed from within the landscape there, right? So all this is showing is, Bitcoin going through the roof. And as the market increases, their initial investment is going to continue to grow, right? We do know Bitcoin is heading into a multi-trillion-dollar market landscape. So this is kind of how things are moving on. So I thought it was an interesting story about how this it started off as a feud. And in a way, you've seen Zuckerberg now feels like he's got to catch up on certain things, right? He's trying to catch up with AI. He's trying to poach Sam Altman's people. Facebook has carried him a long way, and obviously Zuckerberg is very, very rich, but I think he's trying to make sure he keeps up with the other big boys.
Yeah. That movie is, I remember it had also Justin Timberlake. and it looked very similar to the guy. Let me just share because is this guy, right? Sean Parker,
The Napster guy. He
the
was the
Napster,
Napster guy in
the
the movie,
Napster
right?
guy, right? So I don't know, man. Sometimes I, I I think that not sure if he served in like in prison. They sent him to jail because Metallica was kind of the spearheading to try to shut down Napster because they lost sales on DVDs in that time.
Mm.
Anyways, that guy had already some recognition and money. The movie is interesting, all right? It's because again, Suck got introduced to Sean Parker, which they were
Mm.
kind of the celebrities, the tech
Mhm.
celebrities at that time.
They're the Sam Altmans of the time.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, you know what's cool? $1 billion.
They made it in a movie, right? Like that was one of the. Not sure if it was for real. Maybe the writers actually
I
made
know,
it.
right? Hey. Yeah. Back then, when there was real writers, it wasn't all just chat GPT. Hey, if y'all liked our content today, please be sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends. It really does help the channel. We are trying to grow the channel. We're working on some really cool things behind the scenes. It's coming. You're gonna see a lot more content from us, more so than our weekly podcast here. We're gonna bring y'all even more shorts, even bring back the minis that we used to have and things like that, and maybe. Tie in some new AI kind of stuff. So lots to come here, but we can only do it with your support. So it really does help us. But I think we got a good one. What do you think, Mondo?
Excellent. I like it.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next time. Dale.
Bye.